Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Making It Big Season 7. I am your host AB Ravi. Typically, a car has about 30,000 parts, counting every part down to the smallest screws. A two-wheeler may have less. But imagine the business opportunities it throws up, given the fact there are 44 players in the country producing close to 24 million vehicles every year, which includes passenger cars, SUVs, two-wheelers, three-wheelers and commercial vehicles. That's what liberalization has done to India. But if one were to dispassionately look at the auto sector's growth, then all credit must go to one company, and that is Maruti Suzuki. The setting of Maruti in the 80s has dramatically changed the automotive landscape in the country. By sourcing parts locally, Maruti has spawned new opportunities for Indians and in the process has created new class of entrepreneurs in the auto ancillary space. One such company which has immensely benefited out of Maruti's localization program is the Bangalore-based Sansera Engineering. This company, set up in 1987, makes rocker arms, connecting rod, crankshaft, gear shifter forks and common rail. Maruti was his first customer and continues to be his customer even today. So what makes Sansera's story unique? It is a homegrown company that has developed technology at its own backyard without any foreign collaboration or partners. Take a look at Sansera Engineering story and you'll know what happens when a technocrat and finance professional join hands. They ignite the market and love the way to the bank.
14th December 1983 was a historic day. The first car, Maruti 800, rolled out of Maruti Udyog's Gurgaon factory, and this changed the country forever. This quietly gave birth to a new class of entrepreneurs in the auto ancillary space. One man in his late 20s, an IIT-IIM graduate, S. Shekhar Vasan, was watching the Maruti phenomena very closely while working at Rambal, an auto component firm. His educated guess was that the auto components industry could well be the industry of the future. Deciding to go with his gut, he dipped into his savings of 37,000 rupees and took a bank loan of 76,000 rupees to set up Sansera Engineering with 9 employees in Bangalore. That was in 1987. Always sure of his engineering capabilities, Shekhar used some ordinary drilling machines to crank out high-precision output, gaining entry into Maruti as a supplier of rocker arms. Maruti was impressed by the new vendor's quality, and since then, the orders kept flowing in. But very soon, it became apparent that Shekhar was more of an engineer than a savvy businessman. The growing business needed funds much more than he had already sunk into it. He ran out of cash and now needed new investors to keep the factory humming. Thankfully, this support came from 3 of his friends, all practicing chartered accountants in their 30s who were equally convinced about the company's enormous potential. So in 1989, Fateh Raj Singhvi, Devappa Devraj and Unni Raj Gopal became partners by jointly investing 6.5 lakh rupees. The coming together of an imaginative engineer and the astute financial professionals laid the foundation of Sansera, a homegrown company with indigenous technologies. Sansera kept growing by producing rocker arms for Maruti, but the real leg up came in 1996 when strict emission norms were enforced for motorcycles. This meant that every motorcycle needed 2 rocker arms. It was like manna from the heaven for Shekhar and Singhvi. After that, there was no looking back. Today, Sansera Engineering manufactures high-precision machined engine parts at its 10 plants located in Bangalore, Manesar, Chakan and Pantnagar. These plants, operating 24/7, produce around 30 components like connecting rods, rocker arms, crankshift assembly and gear shifter forks, weighing anywhere between 15 grams and 12 kg. These components find their way into two-wheelers, passenger cars and LCVs made by the likes of Maruti Suzuki, Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen, Hero Motocorp, Bajaj Auto, Royal Enfield, Ducati, Harley-Davidson and Piaggio. In essence, there is a Sansera insight on anything that moves on the Indian roads. What sets Sansera apart is that all its components are developed in-house without any technical collaboration or foreign partners. And that has not deterred its 30-plus clients. Many, like Maruti and Bajaj Auto, have been its loyal customers from day one. This confidence is reflected in its growing order book, which stands at 300 crore rupees. To keep meeting this growing demand, the company has been constantly investing around 100 crore rupees every year by way of capex. For instance, at Bidadi in Bangalore, Sansera has commissioned a fifth plant to make connecting rods for four-wheelers and LCVs. Connecting rods are one of the company's key growth drivers. Currently, it produces around 6.5 million connecting rods per year. This number will double to 15 million in 3 years, and so will the company's turnover to 1,500 crore rupees from the current level of 1,000 crore rupees. Sansera's state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities also make high-value auto parts like the single-piece crankshafts for top-end two-wheelers like Royal Enfield. While this is a remarkable breakthrough, the proudest moment for the promoters was perhaps Toyota's decision to outsource a sizable amount of manufacturing to Sansera instead of setting up its own plant in India. Today, Sansera takes pride in serving the world's most adored motoring brands like Harley-Davidson, General Motors, Volkswagen and Ducati, which are among the company's global customers. Moreover, it supplies to Honda in 4 countries and Yamaha in 5.
Sansera is a very technology-driven company. They have been doing their own SPMs, machines, and also they are always constantly upgrading their product machining lines, their technology. So whatever Bajaj is thinking about, they are always there. For example, on the split con rod, when we are sourcing from Sansera, but they've also gone to the fracture con rod, which is the next generation con rod, which Bajaj is looking at in the future. So these are the areas where Sansera is quite ahead, and they are positively contributing to Bajaj's requirements.
Sansera has come a long way from making humble components for small 800cc cars and 100cc bikes to now looking at the open sky of unlimited opportunities. In a major strategic diversification push, the company decided to enter the aerospace business some 4 years ago. A pet project of Singhvi, the new division has already executed orders worth 32 crore rupees by making parts that find their way into Boeing and Airbus aircrafts.
Sansera has been a very technically focused company, and we have always strived to be on the technology front, being the leaders in this industry. We have never gone behind the bottom line. So the mandate is very clear. We have to be ahead of our curve in technology space. In the quality front, we are always been among the top quality suppliers to the industry. So going forward, the mandate is improve the productivity, reduce manpower, because the availability of manpower is becoming a big challenge, skilled manpower. So now we are going to focus heavily on automation.
In terms of business mix, Sansera's bread and butter business is still the two-wheeler industry, which constitutes 62% of its total revenue. The four-wheelers, which include LCVs, contribute 34%, while aerospace contributes 4% to the revenues. A good part of this turnover now comes from overseas, with exports accounting for 28% of revenues. Well, Sansera's journey to the top is reflected in its financials. During the last 15 years, that is, between FY 2001 and FY 2016, its revenue has grown from 18 crore rupees to 845 crore rupees, recording a CAGR of 27.4%. Similarly, its profit before tax during the same period has jumped from 2.4 crore rupees to 94 crore rupees, registering a CAGR of 25.8%. Effectively, the company has been doubling its turnover every 5 years. This phenomenal success owes to a strong quality movement across the shop floors as much as to the dedication and discipline of the company's over 5,000 employees. An upbeat mood and a strong balance sheet have made the company a magnet for investors. City Venture Capital International has already invested 340 crore rupees in the company, and analysts are discussing if the company is ripe for an IPO. On that note, it's time for a short break. When we come back, CNBC TV18's AB Ravi speaks to S. Shekhar Vasan and Fr. Singhvi of Sansera on their diversification plans and more. Also joining us on the show is Sandeep Uppal of HSBC. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. By design, the promoters of Sansera Engineering focused on making components which had huge entry barriers for competition to get in. And this in turn has made it difficult for the customers to replace them. I caught up with S. Shekhar Vasan and Fr. Singhvi at the factory on the outskirts of Bangalore to find out why they are diversifying into aerospace segment. This is what they have to say. Take a look. Singhvi, Shekhar, Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Shekhar, if I begin by asking you, how did the name Sansera come about and what does it mean?
It has no meaning, but it's a combination of parts of my mother's and my father's name and my name. From Vasan came S-A-N, from Shekhar came S-E, and Radha was my mother's name.
Okay, Mr. Singhvi, I have to ask you, tell us how you managed to script a success story without having technology partnership for all your products. Was it a deliberate strategy?
Basically, if you know, the auto industry really kicked off with Maruti coming in. And we got the opportunity, but we were all from middle-class families. Shekhar was from a middle-class family, and the funds were limited. The volumes in India were less. So to get into technology tie-up to make the parts was extremely difficult by way of volume as well as cost. And that's where the Shekhar's capability really came into the picture. His engineering talent, I would say, is really on a genius side. Capability on machining is equally good. And so he brought in process of making a rocker arm for Maruti using ordinary drilling machines. Okay. And so with very low investment, he was able to develop a process for making rocker arms which most other companies, existing players, failed. And that was how the entry to Maruti was made. And he continued this journey by trying to find different ways of bringing the technology from his own brain and knowledge that he gathered from the books and elsewhere. So
the internet helped a lot.
Basically that he had the confidence that he knows how to make this part. And so he went about making that part, and that part came out to be successful, very well appreciated by Maruti. And so that confidence gave us the business opportunity, and the business came in. And so this technology of Shekhar of develop new processes, using his own technology of toolings, including design of machines, really made it possible that we didn't feel the need for getting into a technology tie-up.
Okay, then what was the turning point of your business that made you feel, now I'm here to stay? Was it your three friends who were CS joining you, or was it that order you back from Maruti?
It was a combination of all this.
Okay.
The order from Maruti was the one that gave us the regular income from which we could grow. And having these people join me was a real difference. Because I am comfortable with technology, I wanted somebody else to handle the finances, the taxes and all that. So that was a great help. And the other thing that really gave us a leg up was the emission norms coming in for motorcycles in '96.
Okay.
It meant that every motorcycle needed rocker arms. So, you know, overnight in '96, from just doing for Maruti, we had an additional 10 million rocker arms requirement in India. That is two rocker arms per motorcycle.
Okay.
So that was the extent of business that got added.
So that was a real big leg up you got.
It was a huge leg up.
So your largest revenue spinner is connecting rod. So how much does it contribute to both top line and bottom line? If there is number one product, which is number two, number three product?
So now we have connecting rod, which is a combination of two-wheeler and four-wheeler. Four-wheeler is a new one, which is now contributing a significant turnover and profitability to our business and going forward. And that constitutes 31% of our turnover, all connecting rods put together. But the rocker arm, which is also the one which took the company for the first 20 years, is also making equally good margins. And that is the second, which is at 26%. And then we have crankshafts for two-wheelers, which is again about 17%.
Which is the product or which is the order that you have bagged that makes you all feel very proud?
The rocker arms that we got from Ducati. This is what defines a Ducati actually.
Okay.
This is the desmodromic system, where normally you will find in a car or a motorcycle, the valve is closed with a spring. And in the case of Ducati, there is a rocker arm that opens it and a rocker arm that closes it. There is no valve spring. So this is the desmodromic system. And the issue is here that they have no valve flutter and other problems like that. And they are very good at extremely high speeds, like 19 to 20,000 RPM.
Okay.
So that is a moment of pride for us.
If we can add to the other customer where we really feel proud, here's a company called Toyota, which generally makes this connecting rod in-house, and that was their plan for India as well. Until they found that there's a plant nearby, so they came to check as to our facilities. And then after a visit of nearly 200 executives from Japan, Toyota decided to place the order on us. And we believe we are one of the very few companies in the world machining connecting rods for them.
Sandeep, you have been closely watching the auto ancillary space. So what's your take on Sansera as a banker?
Where Sansera stands out for me is that they stuck to their core competence, which was around critical engine metal parts. Over time, they've used that manufacturing excellence to diversify their customer base. So as Singhvi just advised, that it's kind of getting to be more balanced between a two-wheeler and four-wheeler. At the same time, they future-proof by themselves by getting into new areas like aerospace.
Okay. What is the strategy plan on which you built your business?
See, we've always selected parts where we can add a lot of value. So once you do that, these also happen to be very critical parts where there is a huge entry barrier for people to come in and an entry barrier for people to leave you. In the sense that for a part like a connecting rod, for manufacturing and testing takes as long as 1.5 years. So it is not something that an OEM wants to, just replace you.
Yeah.
It is not a part that somebody can just simply walk in and do it.
True.
So this has been one of the areas that we have been very careful about.
Another dimension we saw was where there is less competition.
Okay.
So like connecting rods or the crankshaft, they are done in-house with the customer. So there's literally no major player competing on these products. Our own competition is with the customer itself, convincing them that we can do an equally good job at a much lower price and allow them to be in their core activity of assembly.
Okay, I want Shekhar and Singhvi to answer this. What are the ingredients for success in business, going by your own example?
Well, when the chips are down, you have to persevere. You really need to have a sense of humor if you want to go through this business. Basically, perseverance is what is going to make the difference.
Integrating all activities which are important, so people have to adhere to every aspect of the company, be it interest to the customer or be it the interest of the employee or be it the interest of the bankers. Everything has to be integrated, and there's a lot of, for a growth, what you really need is everybody has to be feeling part of it. So basically what we have adopted is a concept of transparency and honesty amongst us. So including the employees and other stakeholders, there's a lot of transparency and honesty that is working, and that's one thing I would say really makes you different, and where customer feels very comfortable, employees feel very comfortable, your bankers feel comfortable, and helps you in the growth.
If a youngster came to you for advice, or a son came to you for advice, and he wants to start a business today, what are the do's and don'ts he should follow?
I would say staying with quality is the main mainstay of any business.
Okay.
So if you take your eyes off quality, I don't think you can survive.
See, I would put it today, things are very differently than when we started. We started for a local market. Today, a youngster can be local but be global.
Okay.
He has global opportunities, but at the same time, he has to compete with the global environment. And what I would advise youngster is Now somebody comes to me and he wants to be like me immediately. They don't see that number of years that have gone by to reach this level.
True.
So that comparing they should do is, how do I reach this? I have reached and he has reached in 25 years, I'll try and reach in 20 years, not in 5 years. So the patience level today is definitely much less than it was earlier, because the growth across the world, everybody sees it and tends to that. And added to the quality concept that Shekhar was talking about, it is the passion to create a company rather than passion to make money out of the company. If passionately you run the company, the money is a byproduct. To answer your question, do we work for money? Yes, but not really for the money. You work for the company passionately, bring in the quality, your passion into developing and growing the company, your profits will automatically come. So to us, money has been a byproduct, and we have done it pretty well on byproduct.
So if I had to sum it up, it's patient, passion and quality.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, it was nice being on the show. Thanks Singhvi, thanks Shekhar, thanks Sandeep for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Shekhar and Singhvi talking in perfect symphony. These are the mantras they implemented to build Sansera Engineering. Run your business with passion. Money will follow automatically. Quality is paramount for survival and success. Accommodate interest of all stakeholders. Transparency and honesty is a must. And finally, have a sense of humor. Well, this is the first time I have seen a promoter talking about sense of humor as a mantra. Maybe the humor has increased efficiency at the shop floor. So be it. Before I go, here is an interesting observation made by Michael Dell, and I quote him: "Ideas are commodity. Execution of them is not," unquote. On that thinking note, it is time to say goodbye. See you next week with another interesting episode. Till then, keep watching CNBC TV18.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.